Hey everyone, Ryan here with another lesson, and today we're talking about the 4 strokes every drummer should know. So these are actually the control strokes, and we're going to go into deeper detail about these later on. So the control strokes basically form the foundation of technique when it comes to rudimentary playing. So all 40 rudiments can actually be broken down into these 4 strokes. What we're trying to do is prepare one step ahead of the next stroke. That's what I'm going to show you today. So let's get into it. Alright, so the first stroke is what we call a rebound stroke, also known as either the free stroke, Gladstone technique, full stroke. There's a bunch of names for it. I call it the rebound stroke. And basically what we want to do is start up high and end high. So what we're going to do is loose grip, about 2 out of 10. We're going to throw the stick onto the surface and let it rebound. So we want to make sure we get out of the way of the stick, so we're not attacking and getting in the way. Basically all you do is throw down and the stick should do the rest for you. So you need to get this kind of leverage going here. So I hold the stick between the first knuckle and the thumb. Some people use the first joint. That's okay too. I find that I can get more control with just using this first groove. So we're going to throw the stick down using our wrist. It's kind of like, imagine bouncing a basketball. So this is the kind of motion that we're going to use, and use that with the stick. So we're throwing and letting the stick come back. So a good place to start is to throw and then leave your hand down. And what should happen is the stick should go all the way back and your hand should stay down. Now, if we let the stick control our hand to move back, this is what we call the rebound stroke. So we're keeping all of our fingers on the stick and letting the stick throw our hand back. Now, if you're finding this difficult, one exercise I like to do is to hold between just the middle finger and the thumb. Okay, and first of all, we want to get used to this movement happening in here. Okay, and basically what we're going to try and do is get used to the stick bouncing. So we're actually going to pretend it's a little basketball and bounce the stick. So this can get you used to what it feels like to do this rebound motion. Now, we want to try and do that, but with our hand creating the bounce. So now we can use constant motion, and if we keep throwing the stick, so that's the rebound stroke. The next stroke we're going to do is the downstroke. So this stroke starts up high and ends low. So it looks like this. So this stroke is great when you have an accent and then the next few notes are quiet notes. So we're going to start up high, loose grip again, and we're going to go down with the wrist and stay down. And we want to try and catch the stick about an inch or a few centimeters off the drum. Okay, so when you start, it might go up to here or down to there. That's okay. We want to try and practice until we find that sweet spot where we can get the stick to land about an inch off the drum. So an exercise you can try and do is to hold your fingers over the stick. Now this will give you no rebound, so you'll get a bit of a dud stroke, but it can get you used to what it feels like to stop the stick moving back up. And then we can relax our fingers and let our hands do the rest of the work. If you slow this down in slow motion, I'll show you a stroke in a second. The stick will actually move about an inch above where we want to catch it, just because of rebound. There's no way to stop that unless you use the fingers. But that's okay. It's super quick, and it won't get in the way as long as the end position ends here. So that's the downstroke. Now the next stroke is the tap stroke. So this one is start low, end low. So it looks like this. So this is a quiet stroke. This is also known as, ghost strokes. We use a similar motion. Now, what we want to do is make sure that we're not actually lifting the stick before we go down. If you find yourself doing this, this is not what we're aiming to do. Because if you speed this up, if you're trying to play fast tap strokes, if you're lifting up, it's just not going to work. A good exercise is to keep your sticks together and try and match the height of the other stick. Another way you can do this is by putting your stick over the other stick, and if you hear a click, you know that you're lifting. The idea is to tap and return to the position without moving above this 1 inch mark. We want to avoid this. It'll take some time to get used to this, but this is a really great exercise to build your control. Now the fourth and final stroke is the lift stroke. This one is the last one on the list, so it's start low, end high. So this is a great stroke to prepare you for an accent upcoming, but you have to play a quiet note now. So this is another one where we don't want to be lifting before we do the stroke. Okay? We don't want to do that. We want to go down, tap, and then lift. Now we can incorporate the molar stroke into this. If you don't know what the molar stroke is, you can find it online. I'll try and do a video about it later. And if you start using the molar, if you lift, if you watch, the end of the stick will eventually touch the surface. So if we lift using molar, this is another good way to do it. The other way is the strict snare drum, rudimentary, military kind of way, which is do a tap and then immediately lift. And then reset. Okay, so that's all 4 of the control strokes. Now, how do we use these? So, first of all, I would start by looping each of them in isolation first. So you can get really comfortable with them, and I would advise to use a mirror in front of you so you can see what you're doing. Now, once you start to get these together, then what we can start to do is do an exercise which uses all 4, and you just go down the list. Rebound, down, tap, lift. Okay? So this will look like this. I'll use my right hand first. So this will be rebound, down, tap, and lift. And then we're back to the starting position. Rebound, down, tap, lift. Left hand, rebound, down, tap, lift. Rebound, down, tap, lift. Okay, so this is a good exercise. Rebound, down, tap, lift. Rebound, down, tap, lift. You can loop this until you start to feel comfortable interchanging. Now that we can interchange between the strokes, let's try them with a rudiment. So a paradiddle is a great example, and it has 3 of the strokes in it. So a paradiddle, the first note is accented, and then soft, soft, soft. Okay? But what we do here is we lift on the second stroke, and that will prepare us for the accent. So we want to start left hand down low, right hand up high. Okay? We're going to go down, lift, tap, tap, down, lift, tap, tap, down, lift, tap, tap, down, lift, tap, tap. So this way we're creating a nice flow with the accent and then the quieter strokes. If you start to speed this up, then your paradiddle will start to sound even, easier, and the rudiment will start to be brought to life and sound a bit musical. So here we go. Okay, so I would advise practicing this really slow. Start off at 50 BPM and just do quarter notes and play along, really being conscious of the stroke. The main importance here is to start slow and really nail the strokes. There's no point speeding it up if the strokes go out the window and you're in this middle area. So we want to either be low or high at all times, and we want to be correctly placing those strokes. So let's give that a crack. So there you have it. There's an example of how we can apply the control strokes into our playing. So now you might be thinking, how do we know what stroke to use when? It's quite a simple method, and what we have to do is we have to look at the current stroke and then the next stroke with that same hand. And that way we can figure it out. It's always going to be an accent to an accent to a quiet note, quiet to quiet, or quiet to an accent. So we remember, if it's an accent to an accent, then we're going to use a rebound stroke, and then we're already going to be up, ready for the accent. If it is an accent to a quiet note, we're going to do the accent by using a down stroke, and then we're already down for the tap. Now, if it is a quiet note to quiet note, well, that's just a tap stroke, because we're going to tap, and we're already going to be there. Now, if it is a quiet note to an accent, we're going to use the lift. Quiet note, and then we're up, ready for our accent. So now you can go through each of the rudiments and go through every single stroke and decipher which of the 4 control strokes it is. Now, if you can't be bothered doing that, well, good news, I've done it for you. I've created a PDF using 10 of the rudiments just to get you started, and that is available for a free download in the description. So just click the link and follow that, and you'll be able to get your free copy of a PDF with 10 rudiments, and I've annotated each single control stroke. Well, that just about does today's lesson. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I will answer each and every one. If you enjoyed today's video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell to get the notifications so you don't miss any drum lessons. Thanks so much for watching, I really appreciate it, and I'll be back next week with a brand new drum lesson. Thanks again and have a wonderful week.